make some noise. Come on.
All right, indeedy, Nick Foles. Let's make some noise, everybody. How is it going? Welcome, one and all, to another fun-filled episode of The Final Word with MattyB here on the Interrap Sports Network with your boy, MattyB, on the call. It is Wednesday night. We are getting closer and closer to the end of our broadcast week, but it's been a fun week, and we're going to keep the stuff trucking tonight as Sports Hell Week is wrapping itself up. But as the title of the show indicates tonight, it's all about springtime fun because it's official. The Phillies have kicked off the 2026 version of their spring training today. Pitchers and catchers reported for their first organized team workout down there in Clearwater. And in just 5 days from now, the rest of the team will report for their first official team workout ahead of this February 21st spring training debut against the Blue Jays. So it is Phillies fun in the spring. Now, of course, not all the Phillies are having fun this spring, as this drama surrounding Nick Castellanos has now gone over the boiling point. We are in just a dreadful spot. Both the player and the team just totally mismanaged this whole thing. Do you cast blame upon Nick Castellanos? I don't know how you can cast blame upon Nick Castellanos on this whole situation. I really don't know how you put blame on him. He's just sort of acting on what the team wants. Dave Dombrowski has completely messed this thing up. And now here we sit 5 days away from when the entire team needs to be there. And Castellanos has today been told, reportedly, by Matt Gelb not to come to spring training. The Phillies are telling him, don't bother. We're going to make something happen in the next few days. There's reports circulating everywhere. Unconfirmed, unverified sources have him going to San Diego. One story I read, on his way to Colorado. Miami is a popular destination for Nick Castellanos. But it's a shame that we've gotten to this point. And I don't care really about Nick Castellanos here. I really don't. It's a shame for the Phillies that they mismanaged this thing to where they're not going to get any compensation for Nick. But maybe they do. Hear me out. Tonight, I'm going to explore a theory with you about maybe how the Phillies can sort of save face in all this and potentially pull off a blockbuster trade involving Nick Castellanos over the course of the next 5 days. And I got the idea for reading something earlier tonight about a potential a move. So we're going to explore a possible reclamation project here with the Nick Castellanos situation for the Phillies. We're also going to get into some USA Olympic hockey tomorrow at 3:10 on the USA Network. Team USA finally drops the puck. Finally! Goddamn, been at the Olympics for most of the week and no hockey? Why have they waited this long? I know why, of course. You got to clear out the ice, right? You got to clear off the figure skaters, the speed skaters, the curling, women's hockey. You got to get all that out the way because you got to provide the men, the center spotlight as they will get going. Hockey, actually, men's hockey started today, but Team USA won't get it going until tomorrow. Is that your number one draw of Winter Olympics? It's got to be, right? Is anybody out there waiting with bated breath to watch the luge figure skating, which I never understood why listen, it's a very graceful thing, and I could never do those things on skates, but boy, is it boring to watch figure skating. Boring as hell. It's like watching paint dry or talking to my wife. Either one. Just very, very boring. So, Team USA will start tomorrow and get going with the hockey thing. Joe House says, hey, what's up, everybody? Joe, how you doing? MattyB, what's going on, Bruce? So we'll talk some Olympic hockey. We'll talk some Phillies, college baseball. We talked about that. Division I starts Friday with a full slate of games as we are, barreling right up against the baseball season. And we're going to do our day in Philadelphia sports history of the night segment and our card review, because as already advertised here on this show, today was the release date of the Topps 2026 Series 1 cards. And yes, I have already dipped my toes into 2026 Series 1 cards. Tonight, we're actually going to do one of those cards that I pulled today. So pretty cool way to do the show tonight as we get to talk about Topps Series 1 2026. So all that tonight and more here on the program. So strap it in, everybody. I haven't said that in a while, have I? I used to have a little catchphrase there. I haven't said it. So let's get it rolling. But before I do, let's remind everybody here of the week that is still yet to come on the network. Tonight you had the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, which I believe is still maybe going on, wrapping up. You got me. There was no Pittsburgh Sports tonight. There was a logistical situation. John could not broadcast, so we'll resume that on Monday. Tomorrow, you're going to have the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn at 4 p.m. I can't wait. Me and Kyle are going to sit down for one final time in 2025 and talk what the Eagles season was. We'll go over the 49er game. Again, I said this last night. We are going to reopen some old wounds. We are going to talk Eagles 49ers. We're going to also talk about the drama that was so far this offseason, which we really haven't even started yet. Put a bow in everything. Get it all nice and cleaned up. Clear the slate for 2026. So tomorrow at 4 p.m., me and Kyle, Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn, season 6 finale of the program. There will be no Pittsburgh Sports tonight. There will be a Gridiron Weekly, and then there will be me at 9 o'clock. And then on Friday at 9, the Philly Friday Frenzy with Big Al. Saturday on your Valentine's Day. What else? What a better thing to get your significant other than a day of watching the best of It's a Wrap Sports. I mean, I don't know what, if that doesn't say love, I really don't know what does, because you can sit down with your loved one starting at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning and watch programming continuous up through about 9, 10 o'clock on Saturday night. That, to me, is how you spend your Valentine's Day. So make sure you check out Best of the Week that was in It's a Wrap Sports. On Sunday, we'll start it all over again with the Philly AM Sports Show and the final word with me as I'll return for my new week. So there you go. There's what's remaining here on the week on shows. I apologize. I'm actually taking some cold medication. I got something's a brewing, so I'm trying to head it off the pass. So there you go. That's what's happening the rest of this week on the program, on the network. Ricky says hi. Good. Tell Ricky I said hey, and I miss him. So let's get strapped in, strapped on, strapped up. Put your head, hands, feet inside the car at all times, and let's go with your day in Philadelphia sports history. This is a big one. This is a big one for the true hockey people out there. There's not many moments that you can kind of sit down and look at a moment in Flyers history. This is a Flyers fact, right? But this was a huge move. One of the best days, I think, in Flyers history in my lifetime. Now, of course, we didn't know how great the events of today would be in Flyers history until a little bit later. And matter of fact, when the news broke, because I remember where I was when I heard of this, I was really concerned, but it ended up being perhaps the biggest moment that shaped the Flyer franchise for the next 10 years. And it occurred on this day back in 1995. And it's a little known fact that a lot of people don't know, right? So let's sort of unpack this. Let's talk about where hockey was on this day in 1995. As we recall, there was a strike, right? There was a strike that cost the NHL the first portion of the 1994-5 schedule, and they actually ended up canceling it, and they didn't start the season until January of 95. Now, the Flyers, with Bobby Clark as the GM, on his second go-around as the GM, were coming off of they were heading into their 5th season or I'm sorry, it would have been their 6th season without a playoff berth. Kind of like what's happening now, right? If the Flyers hadn't made the playoffs in 95, it would have been 6 straight years of no playoff hockey in Philadelphia, which they did avert. But when they got the season going in early January, things were not looking good. The Flyers, who had just reacquired Ron Hextall that offseason from the Islanders, tried to kind of run that back a little bit. Obviously, Eric Lindros was still sort of, kind of developing into the player that he would become. We had the crazy 8 line with Fedoruk, Recchi, and Lindros that was giving the Flyer fans a little hope, but it just didn't seem to be enough. And the Flyers started the season 3-7-1. And I remember, because this was a shortened season, they only were playing like 60 games or 50 games. So every game really mattered if they were going to try to make the playoffs. And getting off to a 3-7-1 start was not a way to do it. So Bobby Clarke, on this day back in 1995, decided it was time to shake things up. And he sent Mark Recchi to the Montreal Canadiens in return for a player by the name of John LeClair, Eric Desjardins, and Gilbert Dion. Now, not a earth-shattering trade from the Flyers standpoint of assets acquired. Mark Recchi was a huge fan favorite and one of our most lethal offensive producers. And a lot of people looked at this trade as a disaster. John LeClair at that time was maybe a 20, 22, 23 goal scorer a year. Eric Desjardins was a decent defenseman. But giving up an asset like Mark Recchi was not necessarily making people excited. Now, of course, revisionist history be damned, it was probably the greatest trade in Flyers history. John LeClair would form up or team up with Eric Lindros, and they would dominate the down low paint area in Flyers history for the next 10 years. Eric Desjardins became a huge asset out there on the blue line, one of the, if not the best defenseman in Flyers history, top 5 at least in Flyers history. Gilbert Dion obviously didn't work out for the Flyers too much, but the return on the 2 players that we got for Mark Recchi, who would, by the way, come back to Philadelphia a few years later, was obviously a complete franchise-altering experience. The Flyers would go from the crazy 8 line to the Legion of Doom. Now, the Legion of Doom line did not stay together but about 3 seasons before Renberg's injuries kind of cost him his time there. But the Legion of Doom unleashed what would become Eric Lindros. And John LeClair went from a 22 to 23 goal scorer a year guy to a 50 goal scorer a year guy. It was one of the more, as I said, earth-shattering trades in Flyers history. And for everybody that goes back and wants to poke fun of Bobby Clarke and Holmgren and all the ex-Flyer GMs, they never did a damn thing. Listen, Bobby Clarke went out on a wing on a prayer on that trade. It was not a popular trade. Recchi was a fan favorite. And for him to be dealt for 3 players that nobody in Philadelphia knew about, and for those 2 of those 3 players to turn into what they turned into, you got to give a huge feather in the cap to Bobby Clarke. I think the greatest trade in Flyers history, and I would put it in the annals, the top 5 of greatest trades in Philadelphia sports history was occurred on this day when the Flyers acquired John LeClair, Eric Desjardins, and Gilbert Dion from the Montreal Canadiens in exchange for Mark Recchi. So kudos to that trade. Kudos to the Flyers. Kudos to Bobby Clarke for having the balls to pull that off on this day back in 1995. And that little bit was brought to you by the great folks over at the Philly Friday Frenzy with featuring Mr. Big Al Zafiri every Friday night at 9 p.m. Al will wrap your weekend and wrap your week and get your weekend off to a great start every week here on the program, on the network. So please give Al a listen to. All right, well, let's do what we got here. Bruce checking in, Matty. I cannot wait for baseball, but I am glad the Olympics are now. Listen, Bruce. Here's the thing. I like the Olympics too, but hockey. I mean, I'm entertained in the background with skiing and snowboarding and I mean, I don't search this stuff out, but I'll watch it as background noise. Obviously, the Winter Olympics are on at a perfect time of the year. The winter, when there's nothing else to watch. But of course, the hockey portion of this, Team USA tomorrow will get it going against, I believe it's Denmark. Is that who they got tomorrow? Latvia. They're playing Latvia tomorrow, 3:00 at 3:10 p.m. on the USA Network. So if you're around, make sure you pop it on. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm really excited about USA hockey. I'm really excited about the hockey tournament. And obviously, it's all going to gear up towards when we play Canada, right? That's when everyone's sort of focused on is when USA and Canada will get it going. They will not see each other in the pool round. Hopefully, they don't see each other until the gold medal game, and that would be obviously some good hockey. So, yeah, I mean, am I happy the Olympics are here? Yeah, I don't know. I'm happy USA is playing Team USA hockey. Does that make any sense? Maybe I feel you may be right about the Eagles, and you made many good points the other night that made me think I was wrong, and we won't be as good. We won't be good next year. Well, Bruce, as I said the other night, don't ever let me sway your opinion. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to tell you that I feel a certain way, and you're here to tell me you feel a certain way, and we agree or we disagree, or we agree to disagree. I just, to me, don't look at this thing in a positive light. I'm not going to just dismiss all the drama that occurred, and I'm not talking in the offseason. I'm talking in season, right? Yeah, I said on this very program all last year, all last offseason. And I said, as things were kind of shaping up, as the players were not being re-signed, the Slays of the world, the CJs of the world, the Becktons of the world, the Sweats of the world were just being kind of jettisoned out of here. I was like, well, I don't really know if this is the blueprint that a team follows that's trying to essentially start a dynasty. And then they didn't do anything to upgrade the offense at all in the offseason. They didn't lose anything with the exception of Becton, but they didn't do anything to upgrade the offense. And I was very concerned about that because it seemed to me that they were relying on Barkley to do what he did in 24 and 25. There's no way he was going to repeat that. That doesn't happen every year. You don't accumulate over 2,500 all-purpose yardage every season. It's that's not the way it is. And if you had to revert back to letting the offense rest on the arm of Jalen Hurts, that has only worked once for the Eagles in Jalen Hurts' entire time here, and it ended up in a Super Bowl loss. But reverting back to Jalen Hurts was not going to work because it didn't work before, because we forget in 2024, during the bye week, they had to scrap the passing attack and go run heavy because Jalen Hurts just wasn't getting the job done. And they didn't upgrade the offense at all in 25. They didn't provide Jalen any more weapons in 25. And I think they really relied on Saquon to have another type of season like he did in 24. And I thought that was stupid. You can't do that. You got to give him as much an opportunity to win as possible, because if you are forced to have Jalen Hurts try to win week after week after week and win the Super Bowl with just his arm, he hasn't proven he can do that. And it didn't work out. And then you factor in all the drama inside this team. You factor in once another year of A.J. Brown, another year of Nick Sirianni's shenanigans. Listen, the Eagles are a good football team. Don't get me wrong, but is it about being a good team anymore? Just like we talk about the Phillies, right? The expectations for the Phillies are not to be a good team. They're supposed to be a champion, right? The Eagles were a champion, but they had an opportunity to be a dynasty, and they had an opportunity to keep winning, and they just didn't prepare themselves with personnel, coaches, whatever scheme. They just weren't ready. And do I expect the Eagles to fall off a cliff next year? No. But do I expect them to win a Super Bowl next year? No, I don't. And I just don't think they're good enough, because they're I don't know. Maybe with the change of Stoutland, maybe that is ushering in a different way of thinking, and maybe they are going to go back to the drawing board somewhat and try to be better with that. I don't know, but I'm not sold on it, man. I'm not sold on the people that are in charge, and all this talk over the last few days about the extension. Right? Should we sign Jalen Hurts to an extension? Um, I mean, is that really even a conversation? Why would you? Why would you give this guy another contract when you're obviously not sold on him yet? So why get in bed with him for another 5 years when he still has what, 2 or 3 years left on his current deal? Now I know there's all this. Well, we can kick the money down the road and save some money on the cap, whatever, for this year. Yeah, but I'm not willing to jump in the bed with the devil for 5 more years in order to save a couple $1 million against the cap in 2026. If Jalen Hurts was such a team first kind of guy, and you really wanted to work that out, then why don't he just restructure his current contract, instead of signing him to an extension? So if you sign Jalen Hurts to an extension, that's a disaster for the Eagles waiting to happen, an absolute disaster. Let this thing play out, and if by say the end of 27 or maybe even at the end of next year, if Jalen can bounce back and lead him to a Super Bowl with Jalen's arm, yeah, maybe you sit down and you rework a contract, but you're going to give this guy a contract extension based on what? What has he proven? As a quarterback, as the leader of this team, he has not won a Super Bowl, right? We agree to that. Jalen Hurts, as the leader of this football team, has not won a Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley and the defense and Jalen Hurts have won a Super Bowl. But the 1 year where Jalen Hurts was playing at that MVP level, at that elite level, they didn't win a Super Bowl. And he has not even gotten back to that point, near to that point, in any of the years since. So why would you reward that with locking yourself up for 3 to 5 more years with Jalen Hurts? That's insanity, man. That's insanity. That's company mentality. That's loving the name on the back of the jersey more than you love the name on the front. That's homer talk. It's propaganda. It's brainwashing. It's all those things. Don't listen to people out there who tell you that you're foolish not to sign Jalen Hurts. It's a ridiculous sentiment to want to sign him to a contract extension. Based on what? On what? What happened there? What's going on? Am I still here? Oh, there you go. Joe Hale. Any good players for Team USA men's hockey? Absolutely, Joe Hale. Quinn Hughes. The Chukuk brothers. Matt and Brady. Austin Matthews. Who else is on damn Team USA? God damn it. Making you recall, reapply that knowledge here. What else is on Team USA? That's the ones I know of. Let's see. Who is? Austin Matthews is a pretty big name. No, there's some really good players. I think, honestly, it should come down to USA and Canada. It really should. Jack Eichel, right? Jake Gensel, Connor Hellenbuck's going to be in the net. The Hughes brothers, Jack and Quinn, Dylan Larkin, again, Austin Matthews, Charlie McAvoy, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Jake Ottinger, Jake Sanderson, and Matt and Brady, Vincent Trocheck, and Zach Brzezinski. Man, it's a pretty stacked unit, man. The goalies are Hellerbeck and who's the other goalie? And Ottinger. Hellerbeck and Ottinger are the two goalies. So yeah, man, it's a pretty stacked team, man. It should come down to U.S. and Canada. Maybe I didn't, but I listened to you and also read many things in the past few days and feel you made good points. And I also learned I am wrong. Whatever. I feel that his number one point is that as though Hurts was a star, but he's not a star this year, and Saquon wasn't so good as AJ's cancer team, so I feel that will be very good. MattyB, I just learned from you, so I want to say thank you. Well, you're welcome. I thank you for the compliment. I hope you don't get mad at me, as I don't want to talk politics for anymore, but I am rooting for Canada this year. as I feel the U.S. is being. Oh, come on, man. Listen, we don't want to talk politics. We don't talk whatever. But I would never, ever. Bruce, this is where me and you, again, we differ. Um, I would never, ever, 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 ever not root for Team USA in any international event. Never. It's just, it never will happen. Me personally, I couldn't live with myself. All right. I remember, especially in hockey, okay, where we are not necessarily known as the, the foundation of the sport. It is Canada's game. It's a lot like baseball, right? From the Canadian side of things, right? But for hockey, we have spent 50, 60, 70 years trying to scratch out our place in the international world. First, it was trying to deal with the Russians, right? And that what they had going on back in the 70s and 80s. And then what happened in Lake Placid in 1980. I remember that. I remember it well. I remember I was about 7 years old, and the game actually was on live at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but was not shown on TV until 8 o'clock that night. And this is before the internet and before all that stuff, so you could actually keep that a secret, what had happened. But I remember as a 7-year-old kid watching it in my mom's bedroom in this little TV, and watching literally history unfold. Now, I didn't know, of course, you knew about the big bad Russians. They were the enemy and all that. But watching that game, and I'll never forget it. And I'll never forget the feeling I had when they beat the Russians and then went on to win the gold against Sweden. There was nothing better in the world. I felt so vindicated. It was a boost in the arm in USA hockey. It brought us out of the doldrums and into the international spotlight. We haven't gotten gold since, but we've had some really good opportunities. And our hockey program is probably the second best in the world right now, as opposed to the Canadians, as it should be. It's their national sport. But I would never, ever, 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 ever root against the United States of America in any sporting event. Ever. Never, ever, ever, ever. Nope, not happening. And baseball, in 2023, when Team USA lost to Japan, I was pissed off, man. Friggin' Mike Trout. How are you going to let Ohtani strike you out, man? How are you going to let Ohtani strike you out in the gold medal game to end it? So, no, I completely disagree with you on that. And you know what? Without bringing politics too much into this, Bruce, I'll leave it at this. We are a world superpower. It's about time we start behaving like one. I'll leave it at that. Gotcha. You got 2 Purple Hearts, and I got hurt real bad, and he feels I am what? MattyB, my brother, got 2 Purple Hearts and got hurt real bad, and he feels I am right. What now? You got 2 Purple Hearts? You're a combat veteran? Are you saying, Bruce, you have 2 Purple Hearts? That's pretty good. I myself am a combat veteran. But all right. So, but yeah, USA hockey, can't wait. Tomorrow, gonna be fun. Gonna be real fun. Cannot wait to get going. Keep you busy over the weekend too. Let's talk about MattyB, not me, my brother. Got him when he was in. Listen, I was in Afghanistan 06, 10, and 12. And I was in Iraq in 09. I did 30 years in the Army. So much respect to your brother for his sacrifice, and yours as well. I'm not going to sit here and congratulations on a Purple Heart. That's obviously we get those. You get those when you get wounded, but thank you for not only once getting wounded, but going back again and getting wounded again. So thank you. Thank him for his sacrifice and his service from the bottom of my heart. 2 Purple Hearts. That's pretty insane. I don't know, man. I don't even know if I have that. I'm not that courageous, man. Oof. That's a lot right there. It's a lot to wrap my head around. 2 Purple Hearts. So with the Phillies cutting or trading Nicky C, who takes his roster spot? Not so fast, Joe. Not so fast. We talked about this last night, me and Michael Papernick. Dylan Moore seems to be the outside favorite there, the utility player the Phillies signed just recently. Also, you could look at potentially Gabriel Rokonis Jr., but I don't know if they would do that to Rokonis. I think they want Rokonis to play every day, so I don't know about putting him on the bench with the Phillies. They might just put him back in AAA until a spot opens up on the roster for him to play every day. So it's a little bit of an outside shot that he gets it. So Dylan Moore is probably the big favorite right now, as before even camp starts, to get that final spot. Now, but before we throw dirt over Nick Castellanos, which I am prepared to do, I'm not sitting here trying to say that there's a possibility you can reclamate this and he can come back and participate in 2026. No, but with this trade stuff, right, and the impending DFA because of the tipping your hand and all that, and telling the rest of the league that you're done with Castellanos, so please somebody take him off our hands, and nobody doing that. I want to know this, and I want to ask you guys this question. Would it be far from the realm of possibility that the Phillies sweeten the deal in order to walk away from the Castellanos situation with at least some kind of gain? Taking one of these prospect players, taking an Aiden Miller or Justin Crawford or an Andrew Painter, and then putting him with a Nick Castellanos and trying to make a trade for a substantial return from a team with some young players. Would that be something you think the Phillies should entertain? Is that something that the fan base would accept? I saw a mock trade involving Andrew Painter and Nick Castellanos going to the Padres. In return, the Padres, via the Nationals would send C.J. Abrams to the Phillies in a 3-team trade. Is that something that you would be part of? And is that an avenue that Dave Dombrowski should look at? Or are we just too far into this and it's just a matter of cutting bait with him at this point and moving on? But could this delay be held up? What I'm trying to say is I think a lot of people, when they think about the Castellanos situation, they envision Dave Dombrowski sitting in an office trying to swing a move involving Nick Castellanos alone. I'm going to send you Castellanos. I'm going to eat $15 million of his cap. You send me back Joe Pro Mago in your bottom level of your A team, right? Or is this holdup potentially for Dombrowski trying to actually orchestrate a blockbuster? Are there other players involved in a potential Nick Castellanos trade that would shake this thing up? Is this the big move that's brewing for the Phillies? Does Dave Dombrowski have an opportunity on the 11th hour of the offseason to swoop in there and shake up the entire landscape by pulling off a blockbuster trade involving Nick Castellanos and one or two of our top prospects for a substantial return from somebody else? And I honestly, personally, and why I'm intrigued by this, I never actually even gave that a second thought. I was tunnel visioned with the Phillies trying to offload Castellanos alone, right? And I think a lot of us are in that same boat. But is this delay potentially because Dombrowski's trying to work out a big time move involving multiple players and, of course, Castellanos for multiple players in return? And is there a possible third team involved that he can't, get this thing done with until they get involved? I think, and I would, I guess now that I've sort of been enlightened by that idea, would like to believe that's true. And does Dave Dombrowski, with that kind of move, save the offseason? Or is this just what it is at this point? And now we're just waiting for the dust to settle. Middle of the night, tomorrow night or whatever, at 3 a.m., if Phillies silently DFA Castellanos and he walks away. But I'm starting, and I don't have any inside sources. I don't have any inside intel, but part of me is now intrigued by this. Is there something else brewing? Is there another part to this trade that we're not seeing or we're not even thinking about? Is our side of the brain that processes trades just not able to kind of comprehend that this holdup could be trying to put together the right package for the right package? Because again, throughout this entire process, I've been fixated on just unloading Nick Castellanos. Never really even dawned on me that maybe there was a bigger plan in place, a bigger trade in place, that maybe they're trying to work some Castellanos and prospects for a major haul in return. And I think that again, I feel better about the whole thing. I feel better about this whole Castellanos thing if that's what's happening. And does Dave Dombrowski on the 11th hour swoop in and save the offseason? So we're going to find out soon enough, either way, here within the next couple of days, because it has been reported today that the Phillies have told Nick Castellanos, stay home. Don't come. Do not come to Clearwater. Florida is closed. We don't want you here. And how do you feel about that? How do you feel about that, man? Hey, nah, we don't want you, man. You really shouldn't be here now, but we screwed that up. So we don't want anything else. Don't come. And if you were Nick Castellanos, would you go? I might go. I might go to spring training. All right? I'm still part of the team. By contract, I am supposed to be there. You can't keep me out, right? Does him walking into that facility, does that prompt Dombrowski to cut him on the spot? You know what, man? Screw it. I'm a dead man walking anyway. I'm going to spring training. Hey, boys, I'm a-coming. And we're going to have some fun, at least for a day or two. So this is obviously a nightmare for the Phillies. You got a terrible head injury. Godspeed to him, man. Godspeed to him. Again, tell him thank you for his service. From one combat vet to another. Aiden Miller's going to play third base spring training. I saw that. Aiden's going to play third base. They're going to move people around. Crawford, Vaconis. We're going to try different pitchers. You know how spring training works, Joe. And then we get to about halfway through spring training, and then the minor league camps break. These players go back to their minor league camp because they know they're not going to make the team or what have you. And then we're going to continue to see what the rest of the Phillies have. There's no way in hell Aiden Miller starts the season with the Phillies. I'll stake my life on that. Aiden Miller is not making the Phillies out of camp. Yeah, they're going to give him more than like 6 at bats at AAA before they make that move. They're not doing that. I feel we made a big mistake letting Bader go, as he was very good for us, much better than Nick. Listen, as far as Bader, and this has been an interesting topic. Kaepernick was big on the Bader thing. I wasn't as big on Bader. I would have taken him back, but not for 2 years, a 1-year deal. I would take Bader on a 1-year deal. I would love to see a good move and get something we aren't thinking about, something totally surprising. Again, I saw it today. I can't find it. I like to find it again, but it was an insider, allegedly an insider, reporting that the Phillies were close By the way, Chris Bassett signed with the Blue Jays. Not the Blue Jays, signed with the O's. Left the Blue Jays, is now with Baltimore on a 1-year deal. If I could find it again, it was a proposed trade involving the Phillies, the Padres, and the Nationals. And it had the Phillies getting C.J. Abrams from the Nationals. And that was part of the trade. I can't remember the rest of it. I'm trying to find this post, but I'll continue to look for it. But yeah, it was pretty intriguing. It was very intriguing, the way I saw it, and it really kind of struck a chord with me. And have we been looking at this the wrong way this whole time? Have we been totally fixated on the Phillies' opportunity, or the Phillies trying to just 1-for-1 Nick Castellanos? Is it feasible that this delay could be because of a potential bigger trade that Dombrowski is trying to work out? So I found it very intriguing, and it started me down this path of different sort of trade theories and different things that I wouldn't mind seeing. And I think it's an interesting point that part of this process would involve the Phillies sending one of these high prospects, one of these Crawford, Millers, or Painters involved in this trade. And I don't know, I just got really intrigued. And I don't know if that's because this offseason has been so terrible that something like this would actually make me interested, or if it's I don't know. Am I giving the Phillies too much credit here? Am I trying to make something out of nothing? I mean, I don't know, but I was very intrigued by it. I was very, very, very intrigued by it. Nick don't care. He's getting paid $20 million. And either way he's getting paid $20 million. From somebody's going to pay him $20 million. I'm excited to watch Painter and Miller maybe down the season. Painter is they're both look. So, as we get closer to this, and I know there's a mixed crowd out there, a mixed bag of people that are really expecting a couple different things from the Phillies. I hate to say it, but this is what I wanted. I did. Not necessarily to happen like this, but I definitely wanted a change in the Phillies DNA. And it doesn't look like that's happened right now. And it hasn't. But, we got a long road to go from now until October. And I'm very certain that this team is going to look so much different between now and October. And I hope that by October, the team looks something like this. You got Harper at first, you got Stott at second, Turner at short, Miller at third. Out in center field is Crawford. Raconis is in right, and you can move Garcia, or you can platoon Garcia and Marsh out and left. And then Painter's probably worked his way up to about the number 4, into that mix of a playoff rotation. He's the 4 of our playoff rotation. And that to me constitutes the change that I was looking for. Now, and I don't think it's an outside realm of possibility that it happens, that's what this team looks like come October. Now, what kind of pain it's going to be to get there and how much drama we're going to have to go through in that process remains to be seen. But I do believe that might happen. I really do. This Phillies are sorry. I got a cold. This Phillies organization has never had the balls to play or start a top prospect, Aiden Miller, unlike the Braves. Yeah, well, we talked about that last night, Papernick, and you got a lot of you got history on your side there. They haven't done it, and when they've done it, it's blown up in their face. The times that I remember it, Don Brown, right, and Kingery, completely blown up in their faces both times. You're absolutely right. But again, I don't think Miller's going to come out of camp with the team. I think he might find his way up here at some point late summer. and supplant maybe Bohm. Maybe Bohm's part of a trade at some point this season. Maybe Bohm is struggling or Bohm is red hot. So is Miller. So they decide, you know what, take a leap of faith here at the trade deadline. We're going to send Bohm. We're going to be buyers and sellers at the trade deadline. We're going to sell what we're going to buy at the same time, and we promote Miller up to third base. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but if I can't find that trade, that really intrigued me. I really wish I could find it, but yeah, that is where we stand on all that right now. So Nick Castellanos being told or asked not to come to spring training. You guys don't want me there? Come on, man. One more spring together. Can't we just hang out for old time's sake? Pitchers and catchers did report today. And the rest of the team will report officially by the 16th. Now, I think everyone's there, right? All the position players are there, with the exception of Nick Castellanos. I think everybody else is in town. They did some. Miller was interviewed today. I saw that. Saw a little thing with Justin Crawford today. I was watching some bullpen with Alvarado. Yeah, so I think for the most part, everybody is there. They don't have to officially be there until Tuesday or Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. Or Monday. Monday. And then a week from now, we'll be talking Phillies spring training time. 21st against the Blue Jays. Don Mattingly gets to renew acquaintances with the Blue Jays right off the bat in the first spring training game of the year. Are the phone lines opening? I don't know. It's getting kind of late. JT looks in great. He does, actually. And I saw a little thing of JT today as well. He did look in pretty good shape. You know, JT, for the most part, held up last year, right? Defensively. As I said, you know, and the popular opinion floating around, and we're going to, we dove into this last night. We broke down the NL East. And yeah, there's some better lineups out there in the top three teams. The top three teams in the NL East are the Phillies, Braves, and Mets, right? The Braves and Mets have a better on paper lineup right now than the Phillies. And I base that purely on the fact that it's a lot more structured. It actually makes sense. They actually have 2-hole hitters batting in the 2-hole, 3-hole hitters batting in the 3-hole. They actually have a cleanup hitter, right? There's no denying that they have sexier looking offensive line, not sexier, but more complete looking offensive lineups. But when you look at each team's pitching rotation and you bounce them against the Phillies rotation, even with all the question marks surrounding that rotation, the Phillies still have a superior rotation than any one of the teams in the National League East. And we do know pitching does win you championships. Now, is there some things that have to happen for the Phillies in order to sort of continue that? Yeah. We can't have a plus 6 ERA from Nola. Yeah, that can't happen. Painter's got to develop into something. Luzardo's got to continue on with his magic. And here's another thing about Luzardo. You know, he is an unrestricted free agent. Do the Phillies try to hammer out a contract extension for Jesus Luzardo either before the team comes north or during the season? You know, and is he open to one with the CBA expiring in December? I think Luzardo is crucial to this rotation moving forward into 2027 and having an anchor like him, right? Because now you're going to get another year older, and Wheeler, I think, is a free agent at the end of 27. Nola has 3 more years left, but how much more are you going to get out of Nola after that? So you're looking at a rotation that's going to feature Sanchez and friggin' Painter, you know, in 2027. So Luzardo becomes a very key figure in the Phillies pitching rotation problems next year. And when he's a UFA, and I don't know if the Phillies can afford to lose a Jesus Luzardo right now, if they want to maintain that competitive balance and be a competitive team and not slip into a 2013 and beyond type situation. So do the Phillies, you know, is it incumbent upon them to work out a deal for him, either in season or during the spring training or right after? So it's a lot of interesting stuff going on right now involving the Phillies. So I tell you what, we'll open the phone lines, but really quickly, again, I'm not feeling well tonight. So I don't really want to waste, I don't want to say it's not a waste. It's never a waste of time to be here, but we'll get through some phone calls quickly and then we'll we'll do what we have to do. So yes, the phone lines are open. If you want to jump on in. They're opened on YouTube and X. We are not broadcasting on Facebook tonight for some odd reason. So YouTube and X. Oh, right now it's just open up on YouTube. So it's open on YouTube. If you want to jump on, just click the link and you know the drill. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, very interesting situation. I so want to fast forward to March 26th. You know, I think we all do. I think we all want to see what this team is going to look like and who actually is in the starting rotation, who actually is in you know what the lineup is. Now another year of Alec Boehm, and I did that last night, and I begrudgingly put that in there last night. That Boehm, analytically at least, makes sense in the 4-hole, but it is so wrong to have him batting there. I had to take a shower after I did it because I just felt so dirty, and you know that's a problem. Right, that's a problem to have Alec Boehm batting 4th. It actually is. Boehm, if they don't feel comfortable batting Boehm down in the 6th hole, where he probably belongs, then put him in the 2-hole. Put him up in the 2-hole. He doesn't strike out often. He puts the ball in play. He's not a power hitter, and maybe at batting in the 2-hole takes that onus of being a power hitter away from him. Like he stops thinking about it, because I'm afraid he's gonna step into that cleanup role and actually think he's a power hitter like he's done in the past. And that hurts him. That hurts us. But I had to do it because logistically it made more sense to put him in there. I'll call tomorrow so you can guess it. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Papernick, what's up, man?
Yo, what up, Matty? What's this thing with CJ Abrams? Where would he play?
Well, they could move him to 3rd. They could also put him in short. They could put him around.
He's not third base. He's not third baseman. He's not built for it.
They could put him in 3rd. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting concept. Not necessarily the players, but the
put him a second, trade Stott.
Of putting together like a blockbuster, attaching other players to Castellanos in order to actually get some gain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How's this? Turner to second. Abrams stays to short. Look, Miller should just be the third baseman. Just because two guys, they Kingery and Brown, they scorned the Phillies for the rest of how long the organization's going to be around for. Come on. Yeah, it does, right? The only player I know that I think that came up, didn't Pat Burrell start his rookie year or 1 year, wherever? He was the only
97. He was drafted in 96. He played 97. Yep. He spent his back end. He spent his draft year playing in the minors, and he came up the year after that. Yeah.
So, what's he need seriously, what's he need bats in AAA for? Just so something could go. Just don't give him a big look. You don't do you give him Scott Kingery. You give him a bit of a guy, set him back down. I know they don't want to put Bob on first, but you might have to put Bob on first. Look, you might have to put Bob on first, and you can move Harper to the outfield, which I think would be better than having Marsh run around out there, because I think Marsh is a better platoon guy.
So you put Garcia in left and Garcia in left.
No, I put Garcia in right. No. Harper don't have the arm that Garcia has. He goes to right field. Harper goes to left.
Harper in left. I don't know. I don't think Harper's going back to the outfield. I think his outfield days are over.
I don't think so either. I don't either. But I'm just saying, if they're going to get creative, that's how you're going to have to get creative. They can't get rid of Baum if they bring Miller up. But it wouldn't make, if the Phillies are winning, say they're in the running, for the division or whatever at the trade, and Baum's having a decent, you can't trade Baum. I don't care if Aiden Miller's, you can't trade him at that.
But he's a free agent at the end of the year, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if the Phillies they're in second place, they're the number one wild card team. Baum's having a good year. Why are you going to trade him if you're bringing Miller up? He's having a good year. Say he comes up and shits the bucket, then what do you do? Now
you're right.
You really are.
It's a situation the Phillies have put themselves in. You're right. You don't feasibly you don't trade Baum, but Baum's going to walk away.
You trade Baum now if you're going to do it.
Right. You trade Baum now if you do it. Right. I agree. And so I'm just saying, if the Phillies got creative and threw Stott in a trade with Castellanos, and maybe even threw Alec Bowman in a trade with Castellanos, and brought in some players, some younger players to put in these positions. Would that be? I mean, would that save the offseason for you, or is this just too little, too late? Is this But my whole point was I was so focused on a 1-for-1 of getting Castellanos out of here. I never really entertained. Perhaps this was a part of a bigger plan of attaching other players and trying to work out some sort of blockbuster deal.
Okay, yeah, but here's the thing with that: you really trust the dummy upstairs smart enough to do that?
He's a Hall of Famer.
I mean, he brought Robbie back 2 years. He's bringing. Look, he's bringing Robbie back. He signed Schwarber, which when he could have got Alonso for $5 million more, or maybe the same contract.
Yeah.
Okay. He did nothing. He couldn't get he can't create. He can't even look. You want him to get creative. He probably can't even color inside the lines on a coloring book, and you want him to get creative. Come on, I mean, that's like watching paint dry. It ain't gonna happen because if he couldn't get creative before now, why is he going to get creative all of a sudden?
So what happens if they pull off?
They got video of them, guys.
This? Listen to this. What happens if this is the deal that they're cooking up? Castellanos, Bowman, Stott for Tariq Skubal.
I don't want Skubal. We've had to talk about this.
You don't want Skubal
because you got to pay the dude. Right. You got to pay the dude, and he's going to want big. They couldn't pay Ranger Suarez.
Right, but I'm saying Bowman's a free agent at the end of the year. Stott's a free agent at the end of 2027. Okay. Castellanos, dead man walking. Okay. You're getting rid of basically everything that dead weight for you, and you're bringing back.
Yes.
And in return for 1 year. For 1 year.
Check this out. If Christopher Sanchez has another year like he did last year, he's going to want a new contract. Luzardo's going to need a contract. Then you got Skubal. It ain't going to work.
Luzardo's, I don't care if Sanchez he wants a new contract. If he's under contract, which he is in 27,
$5 million. He makes like $6 million a year.
He signed the contract. He signed the contract.
Well, check this out.
He's going to play it out.
Look, just go all in. If I was him, it's like a little kid. When a little kid wants to be annoying to their parents finally say, "F it, go outside and play." Well, just be annoying to the Pittsburgh Pirates and try to get skiing without giving up Crawford. Give up everything but Crawford.
I don't know, man. That's a tough ask. Not include Justin Crawford in a Paul Skeens trade.
Aiden Miller? What?
I'd like to see what that would look like, though. But I'm not saying it can't be done because
you might be able to throw Stott in there.
You bring up a good point. These prospects are just that right now. Prospects. There's nothing that says Aiden Miller is going to be a star. There's nothing that says Justin Crawford is going to be a star. They could go to Pittsburgh and be terrible, right? So if we unload these guys in order for, and we know Paul Skeens is not terrible. He's probably going to win the Cy Young Award for the third straight year, and he's probably going to go down as one of the greatest pitchers of all time. So and he's under team control for 4 more years after this year. Yeah,
and he's your ace.
You do it. Yeah, no, I agree.
You could take the pressure off Zach Wheeler.
Yep. And Andrew Painter all at the same time.
And not just that. If Zach Wheeler say he retires, and say Luzardo, you still have Sanchez, Paint. If they don't have to, I'm just saying, if Painter's not part of the deal, they still got Sanchez as a top like that. You can build off that. And Nola, you can build off that.
No, I agree.
No problem. But that's just me. I like Skubal. Don't get me wrong. I like Skubal. I just don't. Here's the thing. You're going to give up prospects, and if you can't sign them, what's going to happen then?
Yeah, no, you're right. But Skubal's going to get moved at the trade deadline. I like to see who's going to take that leap. Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to get him for a half a season.
He's going to hold out. Yeah, and then he's going to hold out to see what the CBA is going to do. Or he's going to try to get a deal done before the CBA, just in case there's a cap. He's got one or two things are going to happen. Either he's going to get word there's not going to be a cap, and they already know this, and he's just going to stay till it's over, or he's going to go right in and be one of the first guys signed. Now, okay, you make the trade. What are you giving up for him? Because you don't have to give as much up as you're going to give for a Paul Skeens.
So if I'm going to do the Skubal trade. They're going to want Painter.
Okay.
Painter, Miller, Castellanos.
You don't think they want the young kid, Gabriel and Cones, or maybe one of the younger guys that are down below, that you talk about. That I really don't know much about. Another prospect.
I will throw in Gagewood, Painter, Gagewood, and Castellanos for Skubal.
Okay. Now here's the thing,
and Miller. So you're getting a pretty good prospect haul from us.
Here's a question for you now.
Yeah,
you get him right. If Dabrowski's smart, which I don't have no faith in him anymore, I'd offer him a contract. I find out how many years, and I give it to him
right away,
and just hand it and just give him the money. Yes, I would. Why not? Because you know what that does? That shows good faith. That's one, and shows that he can get it done. That shows other players they can have faith in this guy. Maybe.
Yeah. No.
You got Skubal.
You got Skubal.
Yeah, you got Skubal, Sanchez, and you can sign Luzardo maybe, or maybe he walks. If you can keep Luzardo, but the thing is, you're going with 3 lefties again. That's the tough part. But I think in today's game, it really don't make a difference.
No, I don't think it does anymore either.
But then again, so check this out. Well, here you go. Say you get Skubal, you sign him. Why not take a run at Paul Skeens? Maybe they take a Luzardo one. Maybe they take on a couple of them really young prospects down below. And you can get a Paul Skeens from them. Now you got Skeens, and you don't have to pay Skeens for at least 2 more years.
You can really pay him for 4 years after.
But you know what I'm saying.
Arbitration and get paid that way. But
I'm talking about an actual contract.
I'm not giving him a contract until we get to closer to his 7-year commitment. I don't know why. I understand the good faith, but this is business, and he's a pitcher.
Yeah,
yes, all world right now, but that could change on a dime. One bad pitch, he's got Tommy John issues, and here I am stuck with Paul Skeens for 7 more years, and he's under this huge contract. I get what you're saying about good faith, and I know it goes a long way, especially this day and age. But I'm still trying to run a business. I'm still trying to put out a team that's competitive every year. If I'm going to empty my minor league system, which would cost me to do that for Paul Skeens, I'm going to run this investment as much as I can, but protect myself as much as I can.
You made a good point about the arm problem, because remember Johan Santana won like 3 Cy Youngs, and then he was all of a sudden he fell off the cliff.
Yeah,
he just fell off.
Tim Lincecum was the same thing, man. A guy was on a different planet, and then that herky-jerky nonsense finally caught up to him, and he was nothing. You got to be careful.
Paul Skeens, but Paul Skeens he's built differently in the sense. But I mean, like that, he's just. I don't mean physically. I'm talking just built differently. I look. You've watched a lot of baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't comparing them to these guys. Because you don't have the velocity, maybe, but Nolan Ryan, you know what I'm talking about? Guys like that who could, Greg Maddox, John Smoltz, guys who could just pinpoint things, man. I mean, it's just unbelievable how he pitches. I mean, he don't have to overpower. He's just that good.
And that's
he's on a bad team.
Right, Papernick? That's the secret. As you get older as a pitcher, and you were a power pitcher, the secret is to start relying on your other pitches. And that's what Aaron Nola is failing to understand. And that's why he's struggling, because he still thinks he's a power pitcher in his mid-20s, where he's not relying on his breaking stuff. He's not refining his breaking stuff. When that breaking stuff is working, it's unhittable, but he doesn't go to it. He doesn't trust it. He still wants to be a power pitcher. The real good ones realize there's a certain point in your career where you're like, listen, I can't throw 97, 98 anymore. I got to find another way. You mentioned Smoltz, probably the biggest example of that.
Maddox too.
Maddox was another one. Yeah, that they just developed those other pitches, and they were pinpoint guys. They were putting the ball where they had to put it, and that's what gave them the extra 7-8 years in their career.
I mean, look, I can't, put him up against Nolan Ryan, because Nolan Ryan was. I'm using an example. I don't know how old he was. 50 years old, throwing 100 miles an hour. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
He was
a different breed. But I'm just saying with him, Skeens, it's just I would love to see the Phillies because I'm telling you, he's going to be a Dodger. He's going to be a Dodger.
Yeah.
He's going to be a Brave. He's going to be
Might be a Met.
The Dodgers. No, because the Dodgers farm system.
Yeah,
they don't. They can give it. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about. You have to just be that annoying little kid. Call every effing day. I'd call every day. I'd be like, listen, what do you want? Do you tell me what you want? And we'll go from there and we'll figure it out. Why not? I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, if they got to go get Scooble, I don't have a problem with Scooble. I mean, how many Cy Youngs does he have?
One.
Okay.
Or two. Does he have two?
And no, okay. All right.
He won this. Oh, that's right. He won this year and last year. They went back to back. Skeens and him this year and last year. They both won it back to back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with Scoop, but the problem is like, what's he going to want? If he comes here, I ask him what he wants, and then we sit there, and if I can give him what he wants, I give him that check. Why not? What do you got? You got it.
Here's another thing about Scooble specifically. He was a late bloomer. It took him 4 years or so to figure out his stuff. He didn't burst on the scene and start. He wasn't like Paul Skeens. He didn't burst right on the scene. It took him a minute to sort of refine. But you can look at that as a good quality too, because he realized that he had to work hard and unlock the potential that he had, and that maybe make him a more valuable member of your team. But you're right. Either one of them, I would break the bank for either one, honestly.
Well, Scooble sounds more like a Roy Halladay, because Roy Halladay, remember, he shit the bucket when he came up with Toronto, and they sent him right back down.
That's a good comparison.
And he knew he had it. You know,
and that's kind of what Scooble
here's a question: is Scooble a little bit like Cliff Lee
in terms of his pitching style?
No, I mean, just in general, like him. Like, is that like his pitches? Is he? I really don't know much. Is he a power pitcher?
He's a power guy. He's a power guy. But his breaking ball, his curve, he's throwing like 89-mile-an-hour curveballs. You know what I mean? So he's a power. He's a power pinpoint pitcher. I guess that's the best word to say.
So who as a lefty? Who? I mean, I guess Randy Johnson.
Man, I wouldn't. No.
I mean, like you can't be Cole Hamels. I mean, that's why I said Cliff Lee, because I didn't know if Cliff Lee, when he was younger, could overpower. I mean, I'm trying to think of some left-handers that were nasty. I mean, it's tough because lefties are like gold in baseball. You know, I mean, you get a good lefty, you don't want to lose him.
I mean, Randy Johnson, you couldn't touch Randy Johnson's stuff. You couldn't even touch it.
Well, that's what I mean. Does he have like some of that? You know, some of them characteristics of with the power pitching of a Randy Johnson a little bit.
He doesn't throw as hard as Randy did, but I'd say he's got that kind of like. I heard somebody say once that facing him, so when the ball comes out of his hand, about maybe 3/4 of the way to the plate, it actually accelerates faster.
Randy?
No, Scooble. It actually goes into hyperspace right before it hits the plate. It goes faster coming in.
Wow,
it's a weird thing. Yeah, that's what that's what they said about dealing with his fastball.
That's crazy. Now
it comes out of his arm at one speed and it gets faster as it gets closer to the plate. Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Huh? Yeah, I'm trying to think of a lefty. I mean, Carlton didn't overpower people. I mean, so he couldn't. I don't think Koufax was. I guess Randy Johnson, if he's a power pitcher, is probably all I can think of, unless there's some lefty I'm missing.
Carlton was the master of the slider, man.
I
mean, that guy's funny. Like to throw that pitch.
It's funny they won't teach the screwball because it messes your elbow up, but they'll do that split finger, which can mess up your elbow just as much too.
Yeah. No, Carlton was
the knuckleball.
Man, and again, Carlton was a similar pitcher who had to kind of work on it, and he was always really solid, like a 3 or a 4 in your rotation when he was with St. Louis, but he kept working on it, and he developed that slider, and he became unhittable. How
about was Mark Mulder a lefty?
Yeah, he was a lefty. Mulder was a power. Mulder was straight power though.
Okay.
Power flat.
Scooble. Yeah. Does he compare to him a little bit?
Yeah, but Scuba does have other pitches that he uses quite a bit, and he doesn't rely on his fastball, but it is his bread and butter at the same time. Have you ever watched Scuba pitch?
Okay. No,
You
not.
really,
And I
you
have.
really
I can
need
watch
to.
it.
You really need to. It's a very fun
Yeah,
watch.
I'll have to because see, I have I pay for a site. I pay $124 for the whole year, and I get any sport I want to watch all
Yeah,
year,
sit down and watch a
every
Tigers
game.
game, man, and just watch him pitch.
Yeah.
It's very fun. And same with Skeens.
Well, here's the thing. Well, I've seen Skeens. Now, here's the thing with Scooble. Okay, what right-handed pitcher could you compare him to?
Righty?
A Smoltz, maybe?
A Glavine, maybe?
Okay. Oh, Glavine. There, I forgot about him. But I mean, if it was a right-handed pitcher that kind of had the power like he did as lefty, would Smoltz kind of fit that mold?
Yeah. Yes. But yeah. Man, I love Smoltz. I love Smoltz because he converted to a closer. I mean, he was a dominant starter, and then he was a dominant friggin' closer.
And then he went back to being a dominant starter again.
Yeah. I mean, god damn, man.
Because you got to have that mentality.
The Braves were so blessed, man. Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox.
Wait, Avery.
And Avery there in the back end of that rotation. Man.
Chipper Jones.
Yeah, I wonder why they won 14 straight division titles.
Yeah,
man.
but they only won one World Series, didn't they?
Yeah, that's just a kick in the ass. Yeah.
That is the kick in the ass right there. Well, I'm gonna let you go, Matty. You have a good night. Hope you get better.
Yep. All right, Papernick. We'll be back tomorrow night.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, brother. Yeah. Absolutely. If you have not seen Scooble pitch, if you have not watched Scooble pitch, it's a great watch. It's hard for me. I'm thinking about him right now. It's almost like everything he throws comes off looking like a fastball, but he's got 5 pitches. He does work breaking, but it's not traditional breaking stuff. Like it's not slow arcing and then the bottom drops out. I mean, it's on you quick, then the bottom drops out. It's an amazing thing to see. He's a power pitcher, but he uses 5 pitches, and he's confident with all five pitches. Now, of course, his bread and butter is that 98, 99 mile an hour fastball. Skeens, another one that just maybe Skeens is intimidating. Listen, maybe that's part of it. I don't know, man, but both of them, Scooble and Skeens, get up on that mound and they got confidence just oozing off of them. Like, you're not going to hit me. You know what I mean? No matter what I put up there. They definitely have they're definitely pitchers. You know what I mean? They have that between the head or between the ears. Interesting question of who the comp to Tariq Scooble is. It's hard for me to kind of pinpoint that because pitching has changed. He mentioned some of the greats. Nolan Ryan, we talked about Nolan Ryan last night because we did one of his baseball cards. Nolan Ryan was part of that generation of pitchers that would throw 125 pitches a night, right? Complete games were nothing to those guys. They were expected to throw, 8, 9 innings and go well over 100 pitches. And the guy did it for like 40 years. That's a whole other, that's a whole other level of anatomy with a pitcher. There's not too many like that. Matter of fact, there's only been him. So, and Nolan Ryan was a fastball guy, right? The most dominant right-hander. I mean, we talked about it last night again. Was he the best right-hander in Major League Baseball history, or is he the best pitcher in Major League Baseball history? It's hard for me to, back in the day, watching Carlton and Ryan go at it, game after game, season after season. Obviously, I pulled for Carlton, but Ryan had much longer career, and Ryan's career, when it did end, it ended sort of gradually. It did not fall off a cliff like Carlton's did. He went from one day being a 25-game winner, Cy Young Award guy, to like somebody with an ERA north of 9, literally in '86. Boy, I don't know what happened that year, but Carlton completely lost everything in '86 and never got it back. Ryan pitched all the way into the 90s. And when his career was over, I think he probably could have pitched 2 more years effectively. But, you know, obviously at a certain point, you're like, you know what? Hey, I've done it for 30 years, man. Yeah, I'm good. But, you know, when you look at pitchers today, Skubal and Skeens are number 1 and 2 in, you know, respectively in the league, the faces of pitching. But an interesting topic about, you know, and I know it's been almost sort of a joke topic kind of thrown around on sports radio over the last few days. You know, does Paul Skeens or I guess Skubal more so now because he'll be a free agent next year. What are the chances that he ends up in Phillies pinstripes? I mean, that's a great question. And if the Tigers are sellers, which a lot of people, I don't know if the Tigers are going to be straight up sellers at the deadline. They got a good team. You know, I don't know, you know, but that's a whole other situation because he's walking. You know, Detroit's not going to re-sign him. That boat has sailed. He's not going to come back to Detroit. So you're about to lose him, and you're about to lose him for nothing. He's going to walk away. Even if you're 7-8 games in first place or 5 games out of that final wild card spot and you're mathematically alive, you got no choice but to trade him. You have to. You have no choice because you're going to lose him for absolutely nothing. So that's a real bad spot to be in for the Tigers organization because he's not going to factor into your postseason plans at all. None of them, you know. But is he a Philly, a future Philly? I don't know. That'd be great if he was. Joe says, love how Wheeler is in shape. Yeah, I saw him. He's down there today, continuing his rehab. Why is his Wheeler? I saw that too. I don't know why he's saving his rib. To each his own there, Joe. He went into somewhat detail about how they took it out and how it's being preserved. And he mentioned it's in a closet at his house. I don't know. Maybe he's preserving it for Bryce Harper to grind it up into some sort of cappuccino. Is that what Bryce Harper's new thing is? Maybe they're in cahoots to start serving human rib flavored cappuccino with bits of real rib in it. I don't know, man. It's weird. Skubal reminds me of a young Andy Pettit. Yeah. That's another good name right there, Pettit. That's another good name. Very, very good. Very Peppernick always bringing the good stuff to the conversation. All right, let's get into the other night segment as we are coming up on an hour and a half here on the show, and I am not feeling well, so I'm going to try to wrap this thing up. All right, yes, of the night, and we are still kind of wrapped around Philly spotlight players because I got to get through these players before I hit the road in about a week or so. So I need to get through at least the Philly spotlight player portion of this year. We're about 75-80% through the team. We're gonna start keying in on some real interesting players because I kind of saved the better ones for last, right? Some of the new hope type players, some of the future players. And we're going to start tonight with maybe the biggest name coming out of Phillies camp, biggest name that we've been talking about for years now, literally years. And his arrival in the MLB, and Justin Crawford is it. That again, I don't know who that is. That's maybe Justin Crawford when he was about 15. It's not him today, but anyway, get past the pitcher for a second. Those are his numbers from AAA last year: 440 at bats, 334 batting average, an OBP of 411, and an OPS of a healthy 863. 7 homers, 47 RBIs, 46 stolen bases, scored 88 runs, and had 147 hits. Elite speed and contact hitter. Okay, let's talk about the contact hitter. This is what constitutes a DNA change for me, right? This is exactly opposite of what the Phillies lineup is today. Made up of pure power hitters. This is a kid that's going to put the ball. And what was one of the things that was funny? there were, the reports out of Lehigh Valley last year were, man, he hits a lot of ground balls. And that was actually being used as a negative thing for him. I mean, how far have we slipped in baseball where we're talking about a player who puts the ball on the ground a lot as a negative connotation, right? They all don't have to be power hitters, right? We can survive the world with some contact hitters, for God's sakes. We need them. And Justin Crawford's going to be that, right? Former first-round draft pick of the Phillies back in 2023, I want to say. And right out of high school. Of course, the son of former MLB player, was it Carl Crawford? And will get his opportunity this year to win the center field position. Or should I say he'll get the opportunity to lose the center field position because there's nobody behind him, right? He's, the Phillies are putting this facade together like, well, he's going to get every opportunity to win that job. No, he's going to get every opportunity to lose that job because there was no other safety net. Like, is Johan Rojas the other option in center field? And if that's the case, which it is, it's not Justin Crawford's job to win. It's his to lose. So he's going to go in the spring with that opportunity, allegedly, to lose, whatever. But the future is here, and we've been calling for him for a few years now. And, I wholeheartedly expect him to start out batting down there in the 8-9 hole. That is not his ceiling, of course. His ceiling to me is a leadoff guy, and hopefully that is achieved in 2027, or maybe even somewhat. Maybe they adjust the lineup at some point this year to put Crawford in that 1 hole. But that he is not a 9-hole hitter, in my opinion. They didn't draft him to be a 9-hole guy. They drafted him to be a table setter, and I think that's what he'll be for the Phillies. And I am very excited, as we all are, to finally see what Justin Crawford can bring to the game. Or is he part of a bigger plan involving Nick Castellanos? Again, another intriguing nugget of information to swallow tonight. Is Dave Dombrowski playing possum? Right? Is this all part of a bigger plan to move Castellanos in some sort of blockbuster trade involving potentially Justin Crawford? I don't know. But as it stands right now, he is the man. He is the future. And the future is now. So there you have it. Justin Crawford, our Philly Spotlight player of the day. And yes, let's get on to my favorite segment of all time. Here we go. That's right. It's MattyB's card review segment here. Talked about this for weeks now, but today was the day. 2026 Topps Series 1 dropped today. And no, I purchased my cards today. I did purchase some. I bought in total about 400 cards today. Occurred at around 10:30 this morning. So the 12 o'clock release date was probably more of a soft release, as they were on the stores of our local Target on the shelves, stocked, by the way. And that was at 10:30 this morning. I'm sure they've been picked clean by now, but they were stocked with 2026 Topps Series 1. And like a kid at Christmas, man, couldn't wait to get home and open them up. And I did. And like the new design, of course, this is the 75th anniversary year of Topps, celebrating 75 years in the sports card business this year. Some of the things that we talked about with Topps heading into this season, I'll remind you that their retro card, which they take players of today and put them on card designs from the past. 1991 is the retro card format for this year. So you'll be seeing players of today being put on the 91 design layout throughout the year. And we'll take players not just from today, but all over through history and stick them on the 91 card as a insert today, this year. They're introducing a new insert this year called Titans of the Game. That's a new one this year. And tonight, we're actually going to talk about one of those insert Titans of the game cards as our card review, because out of all the cards I pulled today, and I pulled some good ones, some really good rookie cards. Jack Cangeloni was one of the big ones that I pulled today, the young man from the Kansas City Royals. And the card that we're going to talk about tonight, which was a really fun pull for me. So let's get right to it. Tonight's card review involves the 2026 Top Series 1 Titans of the Game, Roman Anthony, rookie card. Again, this is one of those twofer type cards. You get a rookie card with the rookie card shield there, along with an insert, and this is Titans of the Game. Very cool. Very cool layout here. This is a base card. This is not a parallel. This is not a refractor. This is what the base card looks like for this type of card this year. And it's Titans of the Game. That's what Series 1 is doing this year. And I love the background. I love the color scheme. And of course, it's a really good young player in Roman Anthony from the Boston Red Sox. Sort of burst on the scene midseason last year. High draft pick from a couple years ago, and really is part of what they're building in Boston. I was hesitant because that it's a early, like literally the release date was today. And I was, I look on certain databases to sort of get a gauge on where cards are selling for. And I really kind of on a wing and a prayer was like, well, first of all, the cards were released today. So, I mean, is it feasible that some cards were already sold? And guess what? I found a card that was already sold today. There's a card of this type, this exact card actually, that has already been put up on a site and sold already. So either maybe it was from a different country, a different part of the world. Maybe they released obviously 8 hours earlier in England. I don't know. Or maybe pre-release stuff. Who knows? But yes, I was able to find a gauge on this card already. And this card, one of them have sold. And it was a raw, ungraded. Sold for $10. So a very good sort of like starter price for a card like this. Again, he's a good young prospect. Should be a very influential member of the Boston Red Sox this year. And it's a 2026 baseball card, man. How cool is this to be sitting here in mid-February, and just as we're done with 2025, we're already breaking into 2026. So I love the design. I love the Titans of the Game insert. I love that name. I love I love what Topps did with this card this year. It's going to be a very fun insert. I pulled other inserts of Titans of the Game with other players on it today, but this was definitely one of my favorite ones. So there you go. We are in business for 2026 Top Series 1, and Roman Anthony and Titans of the Game is our first card. And here it is in its physical form, just so to verify that I actually did pull it. And I'm holding it in my hand right here. Again, there it is. And then on the back, it's a nice little color of him and a little bio of Roman Anthony. And there you go. $10 today. Already one has sold, and the damn things were released today. So there you go. We're in business with the Topps 2026 Series 1 cards. And that's going to take me to an end of another show. This was tough tonight. I feel like crap. But Nick Castellanos, the drama continues. Is this is Dombrowski playing possum? Is there something else going on that we're not aware of yet? Or is this just a complete mismanagement of a situation that is going to end badly for the Phillies? Time will tell, but we're going to find out soon, because he was asked by the Phillies not to report to camp, which starts on Monday. USA Hockey is back in business tomorrow. Finally, Team USA will play Latvia in opening round men's hockey for them. Division I baseball college starts in force on Friday, tomorrow at 4 p.m. Don't forget, be back here for a special afternoon session. Well, it's not really special. We've been doing this pretty much all season, but the Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn will return for one final go around in 2025 as we'll put an end to season 6. Me and Kyle will talk, one last time about the Eagles, and we'll wrap everything up from the season. So make sure you're back here. And then tomorrow night at 8, you got the Gridiron Weekly. And then at 9 tomorrow, yours truly with the final words. So until we talk again tomorrow afternoon, you guys take care. Have a great night. I'm out of here.